Have you ever caught yourself replaying an awkward conversation from 5 years ago? Or spent hours imagining every possible outcome of a decision, only to end up more confused than when you started? You're not alone. Overthinking can feel like an unstoppable storm in your brain, trapping you in a whirlwind of doubt, regret, and fear. But why does our brain work against us like this? Is there a way to stop overthinking, or better yet, turn it into a strength? In this episode, we're breaking down the hidden mechanics of overthinking, the science, the triggers, and most importantly, practical steps to silence that inner critic. By the end, you'll not only understand why your mind works the way it does, but also gain the tools to break free. Let's dive in. Asterisk. Overthinking, at its core, is analyzing something so much that it leads to inaction, stress, or confusion. It manifests in two primary ways. Rumination is when you dwell on past events, replaying conversations, mistakes, or decisions repeatedly. Worrying about the future. This happens when you obsess over potential scenarios, constantly questioning, what if? Interestingly, overthinking isn't inherently bad. Our brains evolved this tendency for survival. Imagine an early human analyzing the movements of a predator or thinking ahead to secure food for the winter. Their lives depended on solving problems in advance. The issue today is that our modern brains often can't distinguish between real danger and imagined threats. As a result, overthinking becomes a mental drain rather than a life-saving tool. It keeps us trapped in a cycle of stress without providing solutions. So, why do some people overthink more than others? The reasons are both biological and psychological. First, let's look at the biology. Overthinking activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and logic. Simultaneously, the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, heightens fear and worry. Together, these regions form a loop. Logical thoughts fuel emotional responses, and emotional responses trigger more logical analysis. Now let's dive into the psychology. Perfectionism. When you aim for perfection, every decision feels monumental. Overthinkers often fear failure, which keeps them from moving forward. Control issues. The fear of uncertainty drives many of us to overanalyze in an attempt to predict the future. Unfortunately, no amount of thinking can eliminate life's unpredictability. Trauma. Past experiences, especially negative ones, can make your brain hyper-vigilant, causing you to analyze every situation as a potential threat. Ultimately, overthinking is your brain's attempt to protect you, but ironically, it ends up doing the opposite. Overthinking isn't just frustrating, it has real consequences for your mental and physical health. Mental fatigue. The constant loop of thoughts drains your energy, leaving you exhausted before you've even taken action. Studies show that chronic overthinkers often struggle with concentration and memory. Increased anxiety and depression. Overthinking magnifies problems, making them seem bigger than they are. This can lead to anxiety and even depression over time. Sleep disturbances. If you've ever lain awake at night, replaying the day's events, you know how overthinking can rob you of rest. Without proper sleep, your brain struggles to regulate emotions, creating a vicious cycle. Missed opportunities. Ironically, overthinking often leads to inaction. Opportunities slip by because you're stuck weighing every possible outcome. The good news? Once you recognize these patterns, you can begin to dismantle them. And the key lies in understanding your triggers. Have you ever noticed how certain situations seem to trigger your overthinking? Here are the most common culprits. Fear of failure. When the stakes feel high, your mind tends to focus on everything that could go wrong. Uncertainty. Ambiguity can be uncomfortable. The less you know, the more your brain tries to fill in the blanks with hypothetical scenarios. Social comparison. In the age of social media, comparing yourself to others can spiral into self-doubt and over-analysis. Too much information. In our hyper-connected world, we're bombarded with advice, opinions, and facts. This overload can paralyze decision-making. Once you identify your triggers, you can take steps to counteract them. Ready to break free from the overthinking trap? Here are 10 actionable strategies, backed by science. Set decision deadlines. Give yourself a time limit to make decisions. The faster you act, the less time your brain has to spiral. Embrace imperfection. Remember, done is better than perfect. Perfection is often an illusion. Practice gratitude. Shift your focus by listing 3 things you're grateful for each day. Gratitude helps counteract negative thinking. Meditate regularly. Mindfulness meditation trains your brain to focus on the present moment, reducing the tendency to overthink. Write it down. Journaling organizes your thoughts and externalizes your worries, making them easier to manage. Engage in physical activity. Exercise reduces stress hormones and clears your mind, breaking the overthinking loop. Limit information intake. Set boundaries for how much news or social media you consume. Less input equals less mental clutter. Distract yourself with hobbies. Creative activities like painting, gardening, or playing an instrument can pull you out of your head and into the present moment. Talk to someone. Sometimes, sharing your thoughts with a trusted friend or therapist can provide clarity and relief. Challenge your thoughts. When you catch yourself overthinking, ask, is this fact or fear? More often than not, your fears are exaggerated. These strategies won't work overnight, but with practice, they can help you reclaim your mental space. Overthinking is a powerful force, but so is your ability to overcome it. By understanding its roots and applying these strategies, you can break free from the mental traps that hold you back. Remember, your mind is like a garden. What you focus on grows. If you nurture positivity and action, overthinking will naturally fade. Which of these strategies will you try first? Let us know in the comments. And if this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Together, let's quiet the noise and embrace clarity. Thank you for watching.